name is James Kimo Ng, and I'm 73 years old, born in Honolulu at St. Francis Hospital, August 8, 1943. I attended Nana Ikapono's school for a half day. Unfortunately for me, the school was right next to Nanakoli Beach Park. I had a cousin that he and I were raised in Nanakuli, and the minute we saw the school and we saw the beach, how close it was to us, we decided that's where we wanted our education, was in the beach. Of course, when I got home that day with a wet head of hair and sand in my hair, my mother informed my father, who worked at Pearl Harbor. The next morning, I was awoken at 4:30 in the morning. I was told to get ready, get dressed, and go to, because I was going with him to, he worked at Pearl Harbor, so we left Nanakuli at 5 o'clock in the morning, because he had to be to work at 6. Of course, that was just Farrington Highway then, and it was a terrible highway, a lot of traffic. So I was taken to St. Teresa's Catholic school up in Kalihi, where I was dropped off at 6 o'clock, well actually 5:30 in the morning, because he had to be to work at 6 o'clock down at Pearl Harbor. And I attended parochial school until I graduated from St. Anne's in Kaneohe in the 8th grade, where after that I attended Kamehameha High School. I did not graduate from Kamehameha, although I was with the class of 1961. We had some very notable graduates in that year. Mike Chun, for one, Larry Kamakawiwo'ole, and Dan Yoshida, Lucky McGarrett, Sergeant Napanoa. Anyway, that was my high school education. I applied at University of Hawaii, failed, and then went to, applied at San Jose City College in San Jose, California, where I was accepted, and that's where I attended my first 2 years of college. And Soli Nehiu and I were both at San Jose City.
The names of your parents. You're talking about your father worked at Pearl Harbor and your mom. What are the names of your parents?
My parents' names were James and Catherine Ng. I was a junior. My mother and father were both from Maui. He was from Keawe, and my mother was from Kipahulu. In fact, our family's trying to settle land clear from the Kipahulu land.
Your brothers and sisters?
I have one brother still living in Kaneohe.
Yeah.
He's a professional photographer, Brian Ng. He has his studio's name is B&W, Brian and Wayne Studios.
You met your wife Roseanne at San Jose.
In San Jose, we married in San Jose.
Is she from the Highlands or from?
No, she's actually from Minnesota.
Minnesota.
And because she did not like the cold anymore, we decided we couldn't move any further north than San Jose. We decided Hawaii would be a good place to move to, where it was warm all year long, and it was conducive to our lifestyle. I like the outdoors, and of course I was raised running away from school, headed for the beach, and the beach was where I wanted to be.
So you said you lived in Nanakuli for a while, and then you moved to Kaneohe?
We moved to Kaneohe. Well, we moved to, yes, we were on homestead land. Because my brother and I, my parents were both half Hawaiian and half Chinese, we wouldn't have had enough Hawaiian in us for them to leave the Hawaiian homelands to us as part of our inheritance. That was another reason why I got involved in Kalama Valley. the powers to be then decided who would and could live on lands in Hawaii. And so I decided this was a struggle made for me. I could resist and protest wherever they wanted to evict local Hawaiian people.
So that was when you had that feeling already when you guys moved to Kaneohe.
Kaneohe, yes.
So you had that kind of,
Yes.
it was growing, it was already in you.
Absolutely, and of course, with my parents coming from Hawaiian lands on Maui, my grandparents actually were the start of it all. My grandmother would always tell us about the Hawaiian side of our family and all the lands that they owned. And of course, the biggest land robbers back then in her day were like the Hana Ranch, which was owned by Haole people. And the Hawaiians were at their beck and call, and we grew up learning about Hawaii in the days of my grandparents. And my grandfather was Chinese. He operated the first boy factory on Maui, right above Keawe taro patches.
What was the name of the toy factory?
The Ungs.
Huh?
Ungs.
Hungs.
And our relatives still grow taro down on the Keawe Peninsula. The Kawamos, the Mitchells, they're still there.
Oh.
What was your family Hawaiian name?
They were the Hana'es.
Hanae.
Hana'e.
Hanae.
So your roots are from Maui?
Maui.
Hanae. Oh, okay. So Kimo, what's your full name again?
James Kimo Ng.
Okay. I think I missed that the last time.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Maybe, okay, I think you kind of described some of your activities. Can you talk about more your childhood? You know, what kind of things you had fun with? You said you went to St. Anne's
In Kaneohe, yeah,
and then you went
great.
to Kamehameha, and then you dropped out of Kamehameha, but you went to, you must have finished some other school, right? So can you talk about your childhood a little bit? What do you and your brother?
Oh, we were raised with, my parents, both parents had a large family. They came from large families. So we were raised with all our cousins in Nanakuli. I used to walk all over Nanakuli. Because you walk from house to house or friends and family, you know. And there was always a close family helping each other. In fact, at one time in our house, we lived in a Quonset hut on Nanakuli Avenue. And we had 3 other families living with us, well, because they were all moving onto Hawaiian homestead lands. Coming from Maui, they didn't have much. In fact, the route coming from outer islands to Oahu pre-World War II was you came to Damien Tract, and from Damien Tract, then you moved elsewhere where you could find homes or land was cheap or housing was available. And so Nanakuli, because everybody was Hawaiian, they moved to Nanakuli, to the Hawaiian homestead lands. Not that they readily got lands available for them, but they had to go on the waiting list. My mother had to.
So how was it?
I couldn't believe it. She was more half than my father.
So wouldn't that be, if your mom and dad were half Hawaiian, you'd be half Hawaiian?
I would be half Hawaiian, but they figured out, somebody figured out that we would only be quarter Hawaiian because that was just unbelievable. So because they couldn't leave the land to my brother or I, they decided to go buy, and they moved down to Kailua at first, and then from the Kailua house we moved to Kaneohe, where I was continued growing up and going to
Where in Kaniohe did you live?
We lived on Lilipuna.
Lilliput?
Oh, okay.
Lilipuna went from Kamehameha Highway all the way back to Kahanaho Circle.
Yeah, and then it went around or something, right?
Yeah, and it came back out by Haiku Road into the highway again.
What do you remember about those days?
When first went to Kaneohe, I remember the Poly Road,
Yeah.
The
and the old Poly Road, and then of course all the rice paddies.
I don't remember that.
See, there's no rice paddy.
Wow.
Right where the police station is now,
Yeah.
all behind there was all, and down on the flats were all rice paddies.
There's a soccer field now. There's a soccer field. Yeah.
Oh yeah?
Playground. But that used to be rice paddies.
Yeah,
Because there's a river that went down, right?
that's right.
Yeah.
And where the community colleges, that used to be all dairy farms, all the way past St. Anne's, all the way to
I remember that.
Hiiakea. It was all dairy ranches. Who was that? I'm trying to remember who the Portuguese.
Yes, it was Portuguese, right?
Yeah,
Because the one by there's one by the Bayview golf course. Above
Right.
That was called Sousa's. Sousa's.
Sousa's. Yes, yes.
Yeah, and that turned into a soccer field too.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, Bayview used to. All down below there was rice paddies,
Rice paddy.
taro patches, and rice paddies.
That's by that road goes all the way down to the beach park, right?
Waikalua local.
Waikalua, yeah.
Waikalua local route. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you went to Ben Park there first? Or?
No, not Ben Parker. Went straight to St. Anne's.
Teresa's and St. Anne's.
From St. Teresa's went to St. Anne's.
So what do you guys do to have fun in Kaneohe?
What did we do? We used to go up Haiku Road all the way up to the what is known as what the heck is that?
Sam Lono's place.
Sam Lona's place. But you keep going up, and you can come to along the Haiku Road, the step ladder that went up to the
The highway, stairway to.
Haiku staircase, right?
yeah, the staircase.
Oh, you went up that?
Oh yeah, when we were kids.
Oh my gosh.
And then on the way up there, right now my brother lives below what used to be Makawili Falls. And we go swimming in the falls, jumping off the top of the falls into the pool below. He lives, behind St. Anne's. I forget what they call that.
Haiku or.
Crown Terrace.
Crown Terrace,
Crown
yeah.
Terrace, yeah. Crown Terrace. Yeah. That's that subdivision, Crown Terrace.
Right.
That was
And-
all pasture, right?
And it's all pasture.
Yeah, I remember that.
And St. Anne's School, you could one set of buildings, you looked right out into the pastures.
Yeah.
Worst place to school. Going to school, as long as I had a view of the outside, my mind was there and not in school.
I used to take piano lessons there. There was this Sister Lillian.
Oh yes,
You remember
yes.
Sister Lily?
I remember Sister Lily.
Yeah, she's a really nice, sweet lady. You know?
Yeah.
I remember her. She was my piano teacher.
Ah,
And and of course then all the
and where did you folks live in
I live in
Kaneohe?
Kokua Hawaii side. You know the YWCA?
Yeah,
Yeah, we live right above that.
because Kokua Hawaii, we went up to the YWC, to that above
camp.
the highway, the camp.
Yeah.
We spent a weekend there,
Oh yeah.
The retreat.
a retreat for PE.
Oh, so what do you guys do there? Oh, for PE.
Yeah, for political education.
So what did you go? Wait, that's interesting. So what happened?
Oh, we had Herb Takahashi and some of the third house people come down and explain the class struggle. And we all studied the Red Book, Mao's Red Book.
When did you join Kokua Hawaii?
It was just before the occupation of Kalama Valley and the,
So,
the occupation is when I joined them. Soli says, you can't come in here and not be part of the group.
So
Okay.
so he was a real organizer. Huh?
you cannot, you gotta do what he says.
See, I got to tell you a story about Soli and
Okay,
I
go ahead.
and his uncle. I don't know if you guys remember Count's locker room on Kalakaua or Waikiki. It was right by Joe's bar.
In Waikiki?
Yeah, and it was just other side of St. Augustine's Church.
Okay.
It was a massage parlor.
Okay.
Well, we were in high school, Soli says, my uncle can get us in there. You want to go? Sure, we'll go. So one Friday night after school, we met just below Hawaii Heights. We met just below the gate at one of our Soli's classmates' house. Hilo Ching was his name. Hilo Ching. And so we met there, and we all took the bus to Waikiki. We had a group of guys in the Soli's classmates and my classmates. We were called the Ching Ching Gang because we all took the HRT bus. Wherever we were going to parties or wherever, we went on the bus. Crazy. But the Kamehameha alumni, I mean the students, whatever grade you are, no matter what grade you're in, as long as you knew each other, we hung around each other. So when he says you got to come to Kalama Valley, you know, he and I did things when we were in high school together, and Larry never did though. Larry was a quiet, religious, spiritual one even back then. He was more of the intellectual, whereas we were the, you ready, go. Soli was, he was a pretty easygoing, fun-loving guy. Even when he was head of Palama Settlement, he was the director or something after college.
But he was a good organizer.
He was.
Yeah.
See, I grew up at Palama Settlement.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and you know, that Palama area, a lot of streams that went down into the, in fact, my grandfather, my mother's father, lived at Pool Lane. I knew Pool Lane when I was a little kid, right? Yeah. And when I was dropped off at St. Teresa, my mother's sister, my aunt, lived at Mayor Wright. So I used to go to school, sit on the steps, the church steps at St. Teresa, and I had to wait till 8 o'clock for the school to start before I could. So what I used to do there, this is me, I was a little shit, but I go into the church because it was, you know, for us cold that early in the morning. I go into church and all you see these candles flickering and all the statues, and it just scared the shit. So I walk outside, close the door, walk down the steps, and I knew how to get to Mayor Wright housing. Walk down to Liliha Street, walk down to School Street, and remember Liliha Bakery? I used to go there every morning.
Still there?
It's still there.
Still there, yeah.
New owner now. New owner. But it's
Yeah.
I think it still has the best hamburger steak.
Yeah. Well, back then it was Long John and Coco for me. And the owner, Japanese guy, he's coming to the, I used to go and sit on the counter and he's coming and tell me, what do you want? I want Long John and Coco. You got money? No, I don't have money. Anyway, he used to give me half a Long John and a cup of cocoa.
That's not bad.
That wasn't bad. Then I go down to School Street, and used to have the Japanese takeout places. Guys used to come in there early to buy their lunch, and then they go take off to go to work. A lot of construction workers. Then I would walk across the street, go to Millwright Housing, knock on my auntie's door. Now I get rice and Vienna sausage and eggs.
Oh, that's a good breakfast.
Good breakfast. Well, that was the start of my school, my education. Eventually, though, I graduated, walked down to King Street, and would wait at the bus station, and made my way to Waikiki. Oh, and my auntie told me, your father ever find out you're going to Waikiki, you're not gonna be able to walk when he gets through with you. I didn't care. I just going to Waikiki.
Instead of school.
Instead of school.
Ah.
Well, of course, when school started, I did attend St. Teresa.
So your family was Catholic?
My mother was Catholic. Yeah. My father he just went to church. He made sure we went to church, but my mother was a Catholic.
How did your parents? How were your parents politically? You know,
They were Democrats. They belonged to the Democratic Party until the 70s, and they became Republicans.
Interesting.
they seem to be really working class people.
Yeah, they were.
Working.
My mother was a nurse. My dad was an electrician at Pearl Harbor, Shop 51.
My father.
What was your father's shop?
My father was 51.
Yeah?
My father 51 too. He retired in the 1980s from there.
Did your father ever develop, what's that, lung cancer?
He
No,
had
he had COPD.
he had some problems.
Yeah, so did my dad.
Asbestos stuff. like that?
Asbestos, yes.
Yeah. No, he was Pearl Harbor a long time. He was there at the bombing, you know, when the Pearl Harbor.
Yeah.
He was working with and he's a survivor. He was one of the survivors, yeah. And
Yeah,
he
so
was
was-
at Shop 51.
So was my father. They were,
Oh, he was working at
yeah.
the attack?
Yeah.
Oh.
And my mother was at Malohia Hospital up Oliver Heights. And she would tell us she could see the planes. And there were, I guess, a couple of American fighter planes that left the ground and were engaging the Japanese.
So our fathers probably knew each other.
They probably
They
did.
probably worked with each other.
Yeah.
Then he worked the night shift. He worked not the graveyard, but the night shift. You know?
Night shift, swing shift.
Yeah, swing shift.
Yeah.
Shift, yeah. Wow. Yeah, so you know, my family's real working class too.
Yeah, yeah.
My mom's side was more the farmers, you know, the Waimanalo, you know, farmers like that too. You know. So.
Well, at San Jose City, I became involved with a group of not so nice guys. They were called the Gypsy Jokers. In fact, a graduate of Lelehua High School and I confronted a bunch of them in front of a bar in 2nd Street, San Jose, and we had to flee the area because the whole gang was after us. Anyway, shortly after that, I made friends with a couple of them, and one of them remembered me on that sidewalk. He said, "I remember you punching me." Anyway, I spent about 5 years riding motorcycles with the Gypsy Jokers in San Jose. I did a lot of not so nice things, but it did make me angry at the established world, who we called the citizen world. And when I got back to Hawaii, Soli, who I was with me at San Jose City College, I married in San Jose. My wife and I were at the airport thinking about moving back to San Jose when we ran into Soli. This was May of 1971, I believe it was. And he asked me what was I doing. I told him, well, we're thinking about getting on the airplane and going back to California. And he told me, stop. Don't go any farther than right here, because tomorrow we're having a gathering at Kalama Valley, and we're there helping the residents, especially a pig farmer named George Santos. And we need more local Hawaiian people to come in and help protest the eviction of these residents out of Kalama Valley. Well, my wife and I weren't going to get on any plane, so we agreed, okay, we'll meet you there. The next day, I believe it was a Saturday, when we got to the Kalama Valley opposite of Sandy Beach, there was police and security guards at the entrance of Kalama Valley Road, and we were told to walk down the highway for about a half a mile, and somebody would come and get us. We did, and Kimo Wassman and his brother were there with dirt bikes, and my wife Roseanne and I got on the back of, I on one, she on the other, and they packed us into George Santos, into Kalama Valley, where the George Santos house was located. We had a luau that night, and we were indoctrinated into what the whole struggle was about then. And we decided, we talked it over, she and I, and we decided we were going to stay the next day and be arrested with whoever else was there. Well, the next morning, we were told we could either, which my wife decided to stay on the porch with the rest of the women folk and the children. The rest of us climbed on top of the roof of the ladder and were given bags of poi to throw, I guess, at the police when they came to arrest us.
I didn't know that.
Really?
Well, we sat on the roof until the police got there, and I had a schoolmate from Kamehameha who was older than we were, and his name was Reggie Lee. He was a police officer then, and he yelled up at us, "What the hell are you guys doing up there? Get down." Of course, we all had to get down because we were being arrested for trespassing. And I figured, well, trespassing was just a misdemeanor. I could do the $25 fine. So off we went to jail. While in jail, of course, we were booked for trespassing. Our bail was set, and then we were booked for arraignment for a court date. And that was another whole story in itself. I'm trying to think of the judge's name. The poor guy, he almost had a nervous breakdown when we were in court. We took the trespassing offense into a whole political arena. We brought out the different classes of people in the valley, the ethnic backgrounds of the people, and decided that the local Hawaiian community was almost second-class citizens in Hawaii because they were being evicted from lands, of course, that were owned by Bishop Estate, who was the trustees of the Kamehameha schools, and of course, not knowing all of the history of the Bishop Estate and how it came into existence. Part of my education in the struggle was the PE that we got from our own local, our own research, political education. And the more we learned, the angrier we got. And being in the writing with the Gypsy Jokers for 5 years, anger came really easy. Anyway, we turned the court, a simple trespass misdemeanor case, into a big political arena. We hired some real young activist lawyers, Herb Takahashi, who was then, and later on in years, Herb Takahashi and Robert Knipp were also leaders of the labor union in Hawaii, the ILWU. But they help us navigate our trespass offense into a political arena. I can't remember the judge's name, but one day at the trial, anyway, I belong to the information ministry of the Kokua Hawaii, and to get more background on the trial, I snuck a tape recorder into the courtroom and accidentally hit the wrong button. Instead of the record button, I hit the volume button, and the court we were almost held in contempt for recording the trial procedure, and almost got kicked out of the courtroom. I apologized and was able to remain in the courtroom for the rest of the trial. It was funny, I thought. We got a lot of information that we didn't feel the transcripts of the trial would, they would record everything that we were trying to say in court about the political part of our trial.
Can you name some other people who were involved in the Kalama Valley, the rest like that too?
Yeah, there was Black Richards.
Black Richards.
Andrew Richards, Sr., and there was Kimo and Dan Wassman.
George Santos, of course, yeah.
George Santos.
Pete Thompson, Soli.
Yeah, Pete, Soli, they were all there at the occupation.
Claire, Gwen Kim.
Gwen Kim. Joyan,
yeah. Gene Parker? It's Holly
he was,
guy.
Holly guy, yeah, he was with the
GI or something.
GI.
Liberated Barracks.
He was there also, right?
Yeah.
He was with the
they
Kalama
were
Valley.
all there.
Yeah.
And that's who my wife was Holly, that Roseanne. So she sat on the porch with Gene Parker and all that group, you know, to show solidarity with them.
Sure.
Anyway, yeah, I remember them.
Kalani.
Kalani Ohelo.
Ray Catania, of course, right?
Ray Catania, his brother.
Mackie
Catania.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ed Ching too was there.
Edison Ching.
Yeah.
There was a couple more Hawaiian people, guys.
Was John Saxon there?
John Saxon, yeah, Big John. He was there. And his girlfriend at the time, she was, what was her name? And Moana Keala Akaka.
She was there.
She was there.
Abru.
Ella Brew. Yeah, Ella Brew, he was there.
He lives on the Kona side now.
He's down in Kona.
Yeah. Alapai.
In fact, I brought him to Kona to be a disc jockey at the Kona radio station. And he brought on the porch Hawaiian music. He was at UH playing Hawaiian music at the radio station there, and then so I told him, I said, you got to come to Kona. We need Hawaiian music on the station. You know, all they played was what they called elevator music. All day, all night, and that was all we heard. I told him, I said, we need some Hawaiian music.
So what kind of Hawaiian music are you listening to?
Oh, contemporary and the old standards.
Okay. Like the Brother Kaz, Peter Moon Band.
You know, I have to tell you, the first concert Edison and I threw, we got Kalapana and the Peter Moon Band to play on the same stage at the same venue, you know. They never did play, They always had their own.
This is for Kokua.
Yeah.
Kokua Hawaii.
For Kokua Hawaii.
Can you describe organizing that?
Oh yeah, we went to all the night spots in Waikiki, and of course, all of that was. We had this guy. He was a Holly guy. He was ex-CIA, and he lived right on King Street below UH. I forget the name of the condos there, and I forget his name, but he had money and he gave us seed money for the concert. And so part of the seed money was for us going out to these nightclubs and all the different areas where these musicians were playing, and we would go and talk to them and get them to commit themselves to this concert. Yeah, we had fun.
So when was the concert? Do you remember?
You know, it was, I don't remember that.
Was it before the bust, the occupation?
No, it was after the occupation.
You said that you and Ed Ching organized some kind of a.
It was a music concert.
Yeah.
Yes, to raise money for the work that we knew we had to.
And what was that work like?
Organizing different communities.
Wow. Okay.
And going on and speaking to different schools.
Like what schools did you guys go to?
We went to. I went to Kamehameha Elementary School. Spoke with the students there. I went to.
To the elementary school.
Yeah, and even flew to Kauai
Oh.
to meet with some of the young rebels from Kauai. Went to the Kauai Junior College and spoke there.
This was after the arrest, of course, right?
This is after the arrest and after the trial. We kind of knew what our goals was supposed to be all about, and so we tried to. I went to Kona, and on the way to Kona, we met a very great and became a good friend, Masepa Tanawai, and he was good friends with Mervyn Chang, who lived in Haula, and Mervyn Chang used to help us with the huli paper.
How often did the Huli paper come out?
It came out every month.
Every month?
Every month.
For how long?
Oh, we did it for about 3 years.
Yeah. How important do you think that this newspaper was?
This newspaper was able to report different struggles throughout the island of Oahu at different times, and even we interviewed some of the organizers in the different areas, like Waiahole Waikani, the Waipahu struggle.
What was your role? In
My role
Kokua
was writing about the different struggles, photography, taking pictures of the different community people there that in the struggle, editing and raising hell.
Right.
What do you mean exactly by that? So, you're talking about the newspaper. You're talking about raising, fundraising. And also, I thought maybe if you could add more details on the PE. For example, you said that you guys went to Kokua Hawaii and you read Mao's red book.
We're reading about the class struggle and how it related to Hawaii. Yeah. And of course, most of us came from working class families. We weren't rich, we weren't poor, we were just working class. Most of us came from middle class background, trying to live a dream that was for us. We thought we finally just came to the conclusion that because we had different ethnic backgrounds and cultural backgrounds, it would be a real hard uphill struggle for the rest of our community and families and friends to achieve that American dream. I was asked one time in the PE, how would you start a revolution? Okay, and we, of course, that's what our goal was, to start a revolution, to start all over again and build up. I said, the way, and this is the time of Vietnam, the way they're doing it is you take the class struggle to a violent step and you actually do violent acts and blame it on the establishment, and that way the class struggle gets another boost. People will understand more readily how the difference and what it takes to create any kind of revolution. The Puerto Ricans in New York, the Black Panther parties, are doing all of this, and they're finally and of course starting a food program which we helped to organize for the different communities.
You did that in Hawaii?
We did that in Hawaii, on Oahu, yes.
On Oahu. Where was this?
Where Ray Catania and his brother Mackie came from, Wahiawa. I forget what the name of it was though. We
the
had
Panthers had the Feed the People programs, right?
Yeah.
So did they feed with cooked food or was it like groceries?
No, it was groceries.
Groceries.
Mainly. And that led me, when I moved from Oahu to the Big Island, after meeting people like Masepa Tanawai, Joe Tassel, who was with the Hawaiian Civic Club then. But we also started to think beyond the class struggle as to the different ethnic backgrounds of the ethnic struggles, especially the Hawaiian movement.
So, back in those,
they were very instrumental in me and my family deciding to move to Kona on the Big Island, where we got involved with Shirley Meltzer, who was part of the Milk Co-op, which was trying to help farmers and fishermen organize. The farmers, of course, they had the same struggle with Bishop Estate as the residents of Kalama Valley had. Bishop Estate owned their lands, and they were being displaced for hotels and all kinds of that type of development on the Kona coast. And of course, the fishing, all of the hotel, the building and construction affected the fishermen and the ocean. And so I decided that Kona was the next area of occupation for myself. And we moved there and organized, my wife and I, even Soli Nehiu and Joy Ann followed us into Kona to help first organize the farmers, and then the fishermen, and then every day just a Hawaiian community.
So at that time, you know, from the calling that Soli gave you at the airport, right? Was it the airport?
Right.
Did you consider yourself, I mean, I guess maybe after the occupation, did you consider yourself a revolutionary? Because I know Soli felt he was a revolutionary. You know?
Yes, after a lot of the political education we received, we did consider ourselves revolutionary.
Yeah. So
At first, though, we were just, and I mean, the community just called us troublemakers. Even in Kona, I was called a brown beret troublemaker, and not a revolutionary. We were just young, long hair, hippie types.
So, but in your heart, you knew that you were doing this for the people,
Yes.
for Hawaiians, for the locals, you know, for the working people, right?
Right. We were there to make a difference.
Make a difference.
And have the people, without the people movement against the government or whoever controls the purse strings, all you have is civil disobedience. And what we wanted was more people to show solidarity and revolutionaries for overthrow of the way things were.
To overthrow the government, the federal government in America.
Yeah, we even were told that we couldn't fight against the military might of the United States, but we were willing.
Yeah.
We were willing. In fact, Third Arm did bring in their Chinese connection from mainland China. And when they came, we had a meeting with some of their representatives. We had, and this was in the early 70s, we had the layout to all of the electrical, sewage, and water of the city and county of Honolulu, and where the weakest spots were, where we could do most damage, and we were willing. In fact, it was from there that we targeted Kaho'olawe as the next project that we would try to organize against the U.S. Navy might. And we were able then to organize the Hawaiian people to ask for reclamation of Kaho'olawe as part of the nation of Hawaii.
So was it your vision to see a revolution to create the nation of Hawaii? I mean, a revolutionary nation of Hawaii.
Yes.
That was your vision. I know that was Soli's vision too, right?
Yeah. We were all on the same page at the same time.
Same page, same